Hey guys, I already did a review of the Onsra long fingered gloves, but to tell you guys the truth, I actually hadn't have even ridden with them yet. I was just going off of how they looked, how they felt in my hands. My opinion of them hasn't really changed for the most part. I still think they're great gloves at a great price, but I'm going to be a little bit more critical of them this time now that I've taken several rides with them. So the first thing I wanted to mention is I had to cut the thumb off of this glove on my remote hand. The first remote that I tried to operate with these gloves was the Hoyt Puck for my LaCroix, and it just wasn't happening with this glove on the thumb. I couldn't get hardly any traction on the wheel. That Hoyt Puck has just a straight wheel. It's an older one. It doesn't have the nub sticking out, but I just knew right away with these gloves that operating pretty much any remote with that thumb finger on there was not going to work with these particular gloves. There's a great sale on these gloves going on right now, and I don't know how much longer it's going to be going on for. I think it started around Black Friday. So I went ahead and got the short-fingered version too. Check them out. I think they're nice looking gloves. A bit aggressive looking. Here's what that looks like. I sewed it up so that the seam wouldn't just continue to split and have the stitch pull out. I could tell it was probably going to keep splitting down if I didn't sew it up a little bit. This was a really easy sewing job. It took like 10 minutes. The threading needle was kind of hard to get through this material. This material is pretty tough, which is kind of a good thing. And I mean, I like having it just gone on my remote hand because the whole reason that I got these gloves is to keep my hand warmer and still offer protection when I want to ride in the winter months. It doesn't exactly get extremely cold here in Bay Area, California, but cold enough when you're riding into the wind. So they feel well made, and one of my favorite things about these gloves is these double wrist straps. They've got your typical plate thing in here, whatever you want to call it, the splint, giving your wrist support. But unlike some other gloves, which I'm going to show you here in a second, these have got the double straps, and you can, if you crank these down really tight, I don't know if you guys can tell, but I mean, I'm trying to bend my wrist quite a bit there. So these have got a lot of great wrist support. It's been a long time since I've worn a pair of wrist guards, so I don't totally remember, but I'd kind of have to guess that these don't have as much support as a wrist guard, but they've got quite a bit of support. These have got your motorcycle type knuckle protection. You know, I don't know. It's not really bugging me that that's there. It does give kind of a little more structural rigidity to the glove. The palm slider is nice. So one thing that I don't really think I like about these gloves, and probably really the main thing, is just this pad right here. It makes the remote feel a little bit more awkward in your hand because the remote doesn't really lay totally flat to the inside of your hand. You know, but it's more protection, so if you do go down, you might be happy that's there. I'm out here riding my Ace deck tonight, so I just want to show you guys sort of what this remote kind of looks like. So I mean, I've got a pretty good grip on it. I can even use the remote without a lanyard. I usually do put the lanyard on, especially with these gloves on. But I can feel the pad pushing the remote out like this, just a little bit. It's enough to notice. It's not a deal breaker. You know, I still just like these gloves a lot because they keep my hands significantly more comfortable when it's chillier out. That wrist protection is just great. Here's a comparison with the well-known Flatland 3D gloves. I've had these for a couple years. I've enjoyed them. I've never gone down on them going very fast. I mean, I usually try to ride kind of carefully, but I did fall down on them at slower speeds a couple times. I love having gloves on for every ride. I pretty much do not ride without gloves ever these days. So as you can see, this only has one strap, and it's pretty stretched out over the last couple years I've owned this. But even when this was brand new, it did not have the wrist support that these have. It's a pretty big difference. These double wrist straps, I think, really make a big difference. Also, just wanted to mention, Flatland 3D has some new long-fingered gloves out. They're called the Carbon. They are pretty expensive. They're like $100, a little bit overpriced in my opinion, but they do look like very, very nice gloves. They've got bigger sliders, etc. I mean, you guys can check them out as an option. Well, it is a nice night for skating, guys. 56 degrees. This is a good area to live in for e-skating, that's for sure. There's not really that much traffic out. It's a quiet night. A lot of the roads around this area have been freshly paved a couple years ago, so I mean it's a blast to ride on. I'm out here on the Acetec Aries X1. If you guys didn't notice, I bought this board when Acetec was a bit of a newer company. I've had this board for a little under 2 years now. It's got like 1,350 miles almost. I love this board, and it's my top grocery getter right now. And other things to mention, I had 5 boards, but I realized that was a bit much. I wasn't getting out and riding all of them. I didn't have time. So I sold my 2 older Evolve GTRs, the first gens. One had street wheels, one had all-terrains. And now I've just got my Aries X1, my new M-Boards Endurance 2.0 Plus, and my, I think it's a 2020 LaCroix Nazare, so the kind of old school LaCroix. So I got a really nice combination of boards now. I'll actually have time to ride all of them. Alright guys, thanks a lot for checking out my video, and stay safe out there, gear up, especially when you're going fast. Take care.